thing. Step back. Good.
Well, I guess first thing is, because we know what you do, and you can easily look at it and see what it is, so what...
It's a bitch to explain what it is to you.
Yeah, it's a bitch to explain. Is it just kind of one of the, like, why do you do it's too broad of a question?
Like, you mean, say, like, a fire set? Like, what might I look for during a fire set?
Yes.
I'm always super excited to pull something off for the first time. Like, in the videos that we shot the other night, there was 2 things that pulled off cleanly with fire for the first time. That's always a success. Never, like, losing, I guess, your flow. Like, never having the thought, oh no, what's next?
Oh, first of all, what should I call it? That's the first fucking thing. What should I call it?
Spinning? Like,
So
spinning,
there's not like
a spin, a burn, like a set would be either a burn, or if you were doing like contact pour or something for a performance or for like a video or something, I'd call it a set.
Okay.
And then a burn would be fire.
Okay. Speaking of thinking, how much thinking is happening? Like conscious thinking, like, are you, okay, so you're making a pattern, are you thinking I'm going to move to this pattern? Or does it move by itself?
No, it moves by itself. I've thought about that recently, like trying to pin down what's going on from spinning like an anti-spin 4-petal flower to like stall chasers. I don't really ever plan on it unless it's something a little more complex. But for the most part, it just happens.
Now that you know more of how to do it, are there go-tos you can get to? So if you do get to a spot you don't really know what to do next, can you just sort of like, well, I know I can
Spin myself into a
corner. Yeah, but something that like a kind of a holding pattern.
Mm-hmm.
You have those.
Yeah, like something just maybe a thinking pattern almost.
Right.
Yeah, a pause in music. I do have those. Like set patterns that I know are almost, completely symmetrical, but very clean, that I will just do while I think. Something that's back and forth.
Part of me doesn't want to leave me that what they're on. But what if something happened?
Dude, are there any teams? Does anybody do like an act together?
Yeah, I've seen a couple last year at the Flow Festival that I went to. There was 2 performers, like they did a performers showcase, just people would perform and on a stage, and there was 2. One was a couple, and they're known for their partner boy, which is spinning around each other, but with, creating patterns together, right? Substituting one of your own hands for their hands. And then there was a set that had 3 people, and they were more so playing off of each other, almost like a play. Well, shit. They were all like dancers. Before Poi, they were all improv dancers, and so it's kind of like an improv dance where they're miming towards each other, like creating a story, but then bringing Poi into that story. If that makes sense at all.
Okay. No. Well, no, it does. It does. I don't know interpretive dance.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where it's just like, oh, sure.
The couple that performed, they actually had a theme as well, and theirs was two lovers, like a lover's quarrel, basically.
Okay.
And then them making up at the end of it.
Okay.
And so there was a lot of like aggression in their moves toward each other. Like,
Oh shit! I gotta show you something. Keep going.
I ruined that part.
Sorry.
like I don't know. Whenever the girl was mad at the guy,
Mhm.
she would be spinning poi very aggressively at him, while he would draw back and spin smaller patterns, nothing impressive, while she's doing a lot. And then it would switch sides, and there was a back and forth to that. And then at the end of it, they basically joined and spun poi together, like
Mhm.
creating patterns with each other. Like I said, the whole substituting one hand for another,
Right.
or for the other person's hand. Some people recognize poi from going to raves, and
Mhm.
they always ask me, do you go to raves a lot? And I don't, because that's not my scene. It's not, doesn't have to be connected to a rave. Most, I won't say most, but some of the kids there are just kids on drugs with lights. I saw my first pair of poi at Earthbound at the mall. Arbor Place Mall.
Oh, it's
the
that-
Earthbound store has a pair of poi.
And Earthbound's the place that's like it smells like incense.
New age trendy, like,
Yeah, but it's super
yep,
expensive.
here's all your Buddha stuff and your hookah stuff. And
Yeah.
your crystals.
It's
and
super
your-
expensive though.
Yeah, it's
Where-
just boom. There's boho.
It's weird that there's like a mall spirituality store.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's so funny.
It's mainstream.
If you gotta get
it's mainstream as fuck.
I mean, I guess if you gotta get some crystals,
Yeah.
you know, and you're in a suburban area, go to the shopping mall.
Yes.
I had a friend whose wife was into crystals. She was always into something. She's one of those people. And, like, I remember him telling me about her getting into crystals, and I was just like, "You're fuck," you know. I was like, I couldn't believe him. You know, I was like, "You're fucking with me. There's no way." It's like she carries them on her. I was like, "Oh, like in her pocket or her purse?" Like, "No, I mean, you'll see." And I was like, "What fuck are you talking about?" And he called his wife in, and it's like, "Do you have a crystal in your bra?" And she like reached in her bra and pulled out like 3 rocks, and I was just like, "The fuck?" And, like, I don't know what it is, but it ain't that. You know? It can't be rocks. At this point, do you spin every day?
Just about.
Yeah. So you kind of,
Probably about an hour a day or so.
do you ever not want to, but then you do because you're supposed to, or you need to? I mean,
I have.
A for practice, and B for like, you just have to.
I have.
Is that a thing? Because I know a lot of times I don't like. There's been times I don't want to shoot or write or anything. Like I don't want to. Like I want to sit down and be lazy like I normally would. But now I kind of like have it. It's not like an option anymore. It's just sort of like fuck. I'm gonna hate doing this. Then I gotta do it. It's not like I don't even have to decide whether to or not. Just like what you call like I would have much rather stayed dead.
Yeah.
Or, like, I mean, at least for like when I woke up, like, oh, I could sleep for another half hour. Oh, well, I've only got an hour. Well, fuck. And then it's just me getting up and like it's kind of like going to work. You know,
Right.
like you have to go to work, right? I mean, you know. Well, you show up to work every day, so
Yeah.
I would assume it's like that. Like you wake up some days and fuck, you know.
Yep, for sure.
But you just come in.
With poi, especially after going to like Flame Festival, meeting people that have been doing it for years and years, and seeing how far they've progressed, then the one recurring theme is discipline and spinning your poi a lot.
Yeah.
Which I guess is discipline. And I spin almost every day. The best way to learn is just to try it
Yeah.
1,000 times.
Yeah. What's the Malcolm Gladwell thing about if you do anything for 10,000 hours, you're gonna be good at it. You may not even be the best, but you're gonna, you know. But you know what 10,000 hours is? It's a lot of hours, but people do get there, and it doesn't take as long as you think. If you spend every day.
I'm pretty sure I've spun probably like 1,500 hours at this time. Because last year I met somebody who's like, yeah, I've been juggling 300 hours. I'd never thought to try to keep track of how much I might have, you know, how many actual hours I've spent with poi. They made me curious, so I'm going to say probably somewhere around them.
Just on average, yeah.
Yeah. Because there have been times when, like, in the midst of parties or something, I'd spin poi for 6 hours at a time in one day. And there's been days I've missed. There haven't been a whole hell of a lot, but there's definitely been a number of days, a couple dozen.
Have you ever used it like therapeutically? Like,
Yeah.
I mean consciously, like I feel like shit when I go spin.
Yeah, I have. I usually end up hitting myself more whenever I do that.
So you're distracted or whatever.
Or, yeah. Whenever I found myself doing it, I haven't done that in, well, the first few times that I consciously did it, I almost thought that, like, I should spin angry poi. I don't know why. I was like, I'm angry, like, I should spin poi that looks aggressive.
You mean like as a rule, like that would be like your thing?
Well, just for, like, the therapeutic effect.
Oh,
like,
right.
I'm
Okay.
pissed off, so I'm going to spin poi that looks pissed off.
Right.
And I can't really. Like, it doesn't look right to me, and I end up hitting myself way too much. I'm trying to spin too fast or something. It's just not enjoyable, and then that will, like, frustrate me.
Okay.
Just like, why am I doing this?
That doesn't help.
It helps if I spin poi normally. It does take my mind off things. It allows me time to cool off.
Yeah, I'll definitely like write and edit and stuff. I just forget. I just forget what I was mad about, but I just won't think about it. It's so unreliable. Distraction is art because, like, you know, like playing video games. I'm not. I don't know. I'm not just as devoted. Even though that's active, it's not as active. It's like totally creating something, but it is. It's like 50%.
Yeah.
Or like anything else. It's just like your mind goes. If you're really like creating from scratch, like your mind's in a different, you know, just working differently. It's like you put in just a different gear.
I do not call Sean though. That was my name.
These are all, you know, poi and all is all called flow arts. And the term flow has really grown to mean a lot within this community.
No, but if you want to get, or especially with the slow-mo, because we always slow-mo take pictures, if you want to get
Flow to me, like, there's a bunch of new age thought about, but flow to me can be found in anything you're doing. From, like, we cook whenever I'm, like, at work making stuff, and I'm not stopping and thinking about what I'm doing. I'm just doing, like, I always know the next step. Or if you're putting something together.
And sometimes in doing the Flights podcast, you might like open up a subject that the two people that you're, you know, if I have two co-hosts, if they're working together well, if I put two people together well, or if we pulled out something that's making it work, and all I have to do is like steer the ship, you know, and I'll make a joke here and there, but it's pretty much like, what do you think? You'll go blah 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 blah, and then the co-host will respond to you, and then I'll like tag onto his joke, like I try not to do too, but you're also, sometimes I'm not listening. I'm just listening, waiting for breaks for people's voices to go down or dip, so I know that I can, you know, if I need to change direction completely, Because if I'm going to change, because that's like, well, let's move on. But I don't want to go, well, but like but I'm still, like I say, I'm not listening to them, but I am. Because I can hit that dip and then I'll respond to whatever they said and like turn it that way. But I found myself at the time not really knowing. It's hard to explain, like they don't know what they're saying. Or I don't know what they're saying. But then but I am listening. Like, and then does that make sense? Like I'm listening to it, but then my other side of my brain's working at the exact same time. But it's like watching everything happen.
Kind of tell when they're done talking about that subject and to move on to the next.
Yeah, and you know that's happening when it happens. And that's another type of thing, it's because conversation is supposed to flow, and it always has a flow. It's not always a smooth one. And I guess what I try to do is make it smooth for it.
About what?
Yeah, whatever I was saying about. But yeah, because life isn't that important. It's really not, because you're not, and so you might as well. Like that's one of the ways to make the best of your time here is to make not everything a game, but to just like if there's something you don't like, instead of just like deciding that I'm going to be in a shit mood when I have to do that, or I have to be around that person, or I have to experience that. I mean, obviously not traumatic things, but like I don't know, some person you don't like, or like a job, or a part of maybe your job that you don't like, or a part of like your family that you don't like but you have to do, and just like figure out either how to check out or which part of it you enjoy, but like, so you're talking about like chopping a bunch of onions and stuff. Well, I just like can use that time to go, well, at least nobody's gonna, nobody can stop, like I have to do this, so I could just figure out how to do it subconsciously and just be, in my own head and use it for time to think. So at least, like, nobody's gonna fuck with me.
Okay, any activity that has a good bit of physical interaction in it, I think you can find flow in. Like whenever you're not thinking about like the fight that you had, or like the bastard that cut you off in traffic earlier, anything like that, how you feel about your boss, you're just in the moment doing what you're doing. Like that's what I call flow.
Yeah.
And poi and things like this are a really easy way to find that spot, I think. Just by the nature of what they are, you're playing with a physical object. You're throwing it, spinning it, like you're interacting with this object, and that's it. So like say you had to cut 50 pounds of onions, and you like kind of check out mentally, and you just do it.
Yeah, but you enjoy chopping onions too.
Yeah.
And you enjoy chopping onions. But even if you just maybe like finding the flow and things like that, is a good way to get past like tedium.
Yeah.
And to make things a little better, or to make a game out of it.
And really, making a game out of it.
Yeah.
Because poi to me is like, it's a game.